magnificent. Good morning, Colonel, sir. Fine bright today. I hear down at the village, prices is picking up, and it's a big year for cotton.
And heroic, a charismatic superstar who leapt off the screen. Men wanted to be like him and women wanted to be with him. But in real life, he was complicated, longing for recognition as both an actor and writer. Devilishly handsome and charming, he was a risk-taker who flouted society's conventions and inevitably landed in trouble. For him, life was a series of adventures. Making movies was one.
Well, this is Colonel Braxton Borigard, Burlique'S the Fifth, adventurer, treasure hunter, swashbuckler extraordinaire, at your service, madam. Well, today's talk is going to be on, and I've been asked this by different, friends of mine and fans. Sometimes I get a call here on the red telephone from one of my friends. They want me to do a certain type of video, and I says, all right, I'll do one. They said, well, Colonel, you've been involved in the entertainment industry for years, and we'd like to kind of have your take on some of these adult film performers. And I said, well, I could do that. As some of y'all know, I started out in Hollywood myself as an actor at RKO Pictures. I was a personal friend of Howard Hughes, later in my later years, I did become an agent. I established an agency out there, and I have to tell you, among many of the failed actresses, other people saw liabilities. Well, I actually saw assets, and in more than one way. You'd have some woman, she couldn't act with a dam or whatever. She still looked attractive. And I would hook them up in different stag films back, way back in the day. And then later, some of these gals got involved in the adult film industry. I never had any connection with this gal. This is Janet Mason. She's been around for years. I believe she's had an internet site since 1998. And I always found her to be an attractive gal. And now, she's getting on in the years, so maybe she'll go from MILF to GILF, as they say in the trade. She's done numerous videos. And, like the Village Bicycle, I think everybody's had a ride. She portrays herself as a redhead, as y'all can see there. And of course, I can't show her in action, that would just be against the, this is, after all, perhaps, I always kind of thought of it as a family show, just kind of, you might want to send the kids out of the room, but, this gal's a redhead, or supposedly a redhead, although if you watch any of her productions she's been in, the carpet doesn't match the drapes, so I don't think that's probably the case. And at one point, the gal, she went through a bodybuilding phase. I thought there was a picture of her in the, let me kind of get this off, we'll look around. She's been in this video field for, like I said, at least 1998. She's worked for all the major studios in doing the adult videos, and what I understand is she, I think she might be on OnlyFans. I have to check that, but I know she's done her own private productions, and then and I get a big laugh out of this, she maintains a social media presence where she'll have a a gift wish list she'll have, I think, on Amazon. And all these idiots are buying her gifts. I thought, what a bunch of boobs, morons. They think somehow they're ingratiating herself with this gal, but like I said, I mean, by this point, it might not be in the hundreds, it might be in the thousands, all the fellas that she's been with. And well, all I have to say is, and I would say it's about a lot of them, you're going to have to, you'd have to have a hubcap, is what I'm saying, son. I had a fella one of my friends called me up here on the red telephone. He's telling me that, well, Colonel, you ought to go to the AVN Awards out there in Las Vegas, Nevada. And he says that, some of these gals make themselves available. And he asked me, well, what would I pay for Janet Mason here? And I said, well, mind you, if it was legal, which it wouldn't be in Clark County, Nevada, but if it was legal, which I think it is in some counties out there, I believe so. My first job, I started out as a piano player at a cat house in Louisiana, and I've kind of followed the establishments over the years, and there's some outside of Nevada or Las Vegas that are legal, but if I were to pay, I have to tell you, I would go $500. I would, only because she's sort of a big name in the industry and that sort of thing. But I don't think that I just kind of like a package of cottage cheese. The expiration date is, she's past her prime, and so the price, you have to think of the price accordingly. But that's what I do with my friends on the red telephone. We joke like, well, how much is this gal worth to you? And usually we go by a scale of maybe from $100 to $1,000. If you're going by that case, I would still rank her probably at about $800 if you're going by that. But then you think of all the mileage, sort of like a car. There's a lot of miles on this car, went through a lot of owners, like a rental car. Well, in a way, it was a rental car. And there were a lot of people, they drove the wheels off of this thing. So that's probably what I'd say, $500 value on this gal. But some people may disagree. But anyway, that's my opinion. I thought I'd do one of these here reviews, and I hope you all enjoyed it. So I'm going to sign off now. Well, this is Colonel Braxton Beauregard Burlique the Fifth, adventurer, treasure hunter, swashbuckler extraordinaire. At your service, madam. Signing off. Goodbye, y'all.